Welcome to Efiwe, excellence without stress.
Welcome guys to Efiwe, excellence without stress. I'm Efiwe, your use of English teacher, and I am happy to be here. Did you know that not all adverbs carry ly? Like you find in hurriedly, quickly, slowly. For example, we met her at the party. The highlighted phrase is an adverb. Join me on this lesson as we learn adverbs today. So our topic for today is adverbs, and for this short lesson we'll look at what are adverbs, types of adverbs, and we'll answer questions on adverbs. So let's get right into it. What are adverbs? Adverbs are simply words that are used to modify a verb. More like they add more information to a verb, or an adjective, or even another adverb, or a whole sentence. For example, look at this sentence. Chika spoke rudely to the bartender. Spoke is the verb here. Rudely is the adverb. Rudely, the adverb, is telling us more on how Chika spoke to the bartender. So, Chika did not just speak to the bartender, Chika spoke rudely to the bartender. Rudely is the adverb here. Now, some adverbs are formed. Don't forget that I said some are formed by adding ly to an adjective. Examples: slow is an adjective. When you add ly, you have slowly. Rude, we have rudely. Loud, loudly. Careless, carelessly. Proud, proudly. Happy, happily. Excited, excitedly. Shameful, shamefully. Shamefully. Quick, quickly. Hard, hardly. Types of adverbs. We have adverb of time. They simply answer the question when. When did a thing happen? Tolu will visit us in the evening. So we're not just saying Tolu will visit us. When will she visit us? In the evening. This is an adverb of time. For adverb of place, they answer the question where. He is in the kitchen. Where is he? He is in the kitchen. Adverb of manner answers the question how. He spoke rudely to the woman. How did he speak to her? Rudely. Adverb of degree answers the question to what extent, how much. Emeka is a very tall man. So Emeka is a very tall man. Very there is an adverb of degree. We also have relative adverbs. What they do is that they join two clauses together. Example of relative adverbs are where, why, and when. For example, this is the time when the plane will land. So we have two clauses here. This is the time the plane will land. So it joins both the main clause and the dependent clause. This is the time when the plane will land, a relative adverb. We also have interrogative adverbs. They ask questions. Why, where, when, how. Where did you get the comb from? How will you travel without your bag? Interrogative adverbs. Then we also have adverbials. They include adverbs and free or what we call post modifiers. In the bag. In the bag is an adverbial. On the table. On the floor. Near the door. And so on. So we'll answer these questions on adverb. He had just entered the office. Dash, the telephone rang. A, as. B, before. C, since. D, when. The correct option is option D. He had just entered the office when the telephone rang. I I told him dash he had no chance. A. Quite by frankness. C. Quite frankly. C. Quite in frankness. D. Quite being frank. The correct option is option B. I told him quite frankly. I did not just tell him. How did I tell him? I told him quite frankly. He had no chance. That means I was blunt, I was honest, very honest. I told him quite frankly, he had no chance. Next question. Although he tried hard, the journalist couldn't get dash information. A. Several. B. An. C. Many. D. Much. The correct option is option D. Although he tried hard, the journalist couldn't get much information. He traveled dash last week. A. Somewhat. B. Somewhere. C. Somewhat. C. Somewhat. D. Somewhere. The correct option is somewhere, but the question here is which somewhere is to be selected. The correct option is option D. That's how it's supposed to be written. Can you buy African souvenirs in any other shops? Or dash, can you buy African souvenirs? Now in this question, it's more like rephrasing the question. Can you buy African souvenirs in any other shops? So we're trying to rephrase this question using our knowledge of adverbs. Or dash, can you buy African souvenirs? Is it A. What place? B. Which place? C. Where? D. Where else? The correct option is option D. Where else can you buy African souvenirs? Because the question says, can you buy African souvenirs in any other shops? So this likely suggests that in that particular shop, they've looked for African souvenirs and they can't find it. So we're now asking, where else can you buy African souvenirs? Now this will bring us to the end of our lesson on adverbs. To answer other questions on adverbs, to practice what you've learned, all you have to do is to download the Efiwe app and you will be good to go. Welcome guys to Efiwe, Excellence Without Stress. I am Efiwe, your use of English teacher, and I am excited to be here. Did you know that the word therefore is not a joining word? It's not. So if you make sentences, I went to their house, therefore she came with me, and all that, just know that therefore is not a joining words. And what are joining words? They are simply conjunctions, and that is what we'll be looking at today. So in place of using therefore to keep on joining your words and making grammatical errors, I will teach you on the subject of conjunctions and how to use them properly. For this topic, we'll define conjunctions, we'll look at types of conjunctions, and also look at examples. And finally, we'll answer questions on conjunctions. So let's get right into it. What are conjunctions? They are simply words that join words or phrases or clauses together. So conjunctions are joining words. They connect words. We have examples. Yes, and is very common, but is also a very common conjunction. Even or is a common conjunction. So what they simply do is that they connect words, they connect phrases or clauses together in a sentence. Let's look at types of conjunctions. In English language, we have three types of conjunction. The first one is what we call the coordinating conjunctions. Now, what does the type of conjunction do? It simply joins words or group of words that are of equal rank. So words that are of equal rank. Examples of coordinating conjunctions, we have and, we have or, we have but, yet, still. Now let's look at this example. Ali likes banana and plantain. Banana and plantain. They are both nouns. So what the conjunction and did here simply is that it joined these words together. Do you want apples or oranges? So this is what coordinating conjunctions do. They join words that are of equal rank. Then we also have the subordinate or subordinating conjunctions. What they used to do is that they used to join dependent clauses to independent clauses. That means we join clauses that can both stand on their own to clauses that need other clauses to stand. Examples of subordinating conjunctions, we have since, we have if, we have although, we have before, whenever, whether, than, as, after, while. Let's look at this example. She listened to the song while she was washing plates. She listened to the song is the independent clause here. While she was washing plates is the one that is dependent. So what we've used while to do is to join these clauses together. She listened to the song while she was washing plates. The sick boy was hungry but refused to eat. We also have what we call the correlative conjunctions. Now, correlative conjunctions, they are simply conjunctions that are used in pairs. So they are paired, they don't stand alone. So words that come together and they function as a conjunction. They are what we call correlative conjunction. We have neither nor. These are the most popular ones, either or, such that, so that. Now, one thing about these correlative conjunctions is that they are always used together in a sentence. Neither nor is negative. Either or positive. Now let's look at this example. I am neither taking the car nor the boxes. So we can find neither and nor in this sentence. Either Chelsea or Liverpool will win the match. These are examples of correlative conjunctions. So now let's answer these questions. Question 1. Dash, he switches on the light, the shadow disappears. A. Whenever. B. Except. C. Since. D. Until. The correct option is option A. Whenever he switches on the light, the shadow disappears. Question 2. Tinu likes apples. Dash, she does not like oranges. Now, you must note that when we're dealing with but is usually for negative. So when we want to introduce negative into a sentence. Now let's look at this. Tinu likes apples, but she does not like oranges. So we're using the conjunction but to introduce a negative. Question 3. He was both a writer and a politician, but he was better dash a singer. Our options: as if, like, as, to be. The correct option is option C. He was both a writer and a politician, but he was better as a singer. Question 4. You can stay here dash as you are quiet. A. As long. B. So long. C. In as much. D. For as long. The correct option is option A. You can stay here as long as you are quiet. As long is an example of a correlative conjunction, and that is the appropriate conjunction for this sentence. Question 5. whether that his uncle helped him or not, he would still not be able to do it. A, although. B, if. C, whether. D, since. The correct option is C. Whether his uncle helped him or not, he would still not be able to do it. Question 6. Dash your parents frown dash our friendship. We shouldn't see each other anymore. Our options: because and over. B, since and at. C, although and at. D, as and upon. The correct option is option B. Since your parents frown at our friendship, we shouldn't see each other anymore. Question 7. Salau wants to read music. Dash his parents are against it. With the word against, we already know that what this signifies is negative. So the correct option is option B. Salau wants to read music, but his parents are against it. Question 8. Excuse me, do you mind dash I smoke? Option A, because. Option B, if. Option C, since. Option D, while. The correct option is option B. Excuse me, do you mind if I smoke? Question 9. Although he was invited, dash he was not welcome. Option A, but. Option B, yet. Option C, so. Option D, since. The correct option is option B. Although he was invited, yet he was not welcome. Question 10. For dash his secretary, we shall not have correct minutes. Option A, because. Option B, as long as. Option C, so long. Option D, inasmuch. The correct option is option B. For as long as he is secretary, we shall not have correct minutes. Question 11 was written in the manner of a dialogue. So we have Umar saying, I have never visited the dentist. Then Ali, who says dash. Now let's look at our options. Option A, neither myself. Option B, I myself haven't. Option C, neither have I. Option D, I also never. The correct option is option C, neither have I. Question 12. Many people believe that nuclear power will solve our energy problems. Dash, this has not been proved to be true. A, indeed. B, but. C, however. D, on the contrary. Remember that we use but to introduce negatives. The correct option is option B. Many people believe that nuclear power will solve our energy problems, but this has not been proved to be true. Question 13. Dash, we can now start meaningful development. Option A, since the Cold War is over. Option B, with the Cold War over. Option C, the Cold War over. Option D, that the Cold War is over. The correct option is option B. With the Cold War over, we can now start meaningful development. Question 14. Based on the facts before me, I have no alternative dash to terminate your appointment. A, but. B, then. C, as. D, only. The correct option is option B. Based on the facts before me, I have no alternative than to terminate your appointment. Question 15. He asks, dash he were a manager. A, like. B, such as. C, such. D, as if. The correct option here is the correlative conjunction as if. He acts as if he were a manager. Now we've come to the end of our lesson on conjunctions, but to practice more on the use of conjunctions, all you have to do is to download the Efiwe app. And welcome guys to Efiwe, Excellence Without Stress. I am Miss Favor, your use of English teacher, and I am happy to be here. Let's eat grammar. Let's eat grammar. This statement sounds very weird, and I'll tell you why. It is because of wrong punctuation. Who would want to eat their grammar? Let's eat grammar. Wow. Well, if a comma is added after it, we have a different statement altogether. Let's eat grammar. That's more like saying grammar, comma, let's eat, full stop. That sounded a lot better. And that is why we are going to look at punctuation today, so that we will start punctuating our sentences correctly. So let's get right into it. Punctuation. For today's lesson, we'll look at what are punctuation marks, major punctuation marks and their symbols, and finally we will look at uses of punctuation marks, and like is our custom, we would answer questions on punctuation marks. What are punctuation marks? Punctuation marks are conventions in writing which suggest sounds, gestures, and tone of voice that helps the reader to understand what is written. Now, it is important to know that the correct usage of punctuation marks is very necessary, because the use of different punctuation marks can change the meaning of a sentence, just like what we saw in let's eat grammar and let's eat, comma, grammar. Now let's look at major punctuation marks and their symbol. We have the full stop, which we also call period. We have the question mark. We have the exclamation mark. We have the comma. We have the colon, the semicolon. We have the parentheses or brackets. We have quotation marks. We have hyphen. We have apostrophe. We have slash or virgule. We have the ellipses, and we also have what we call dash. So now we are going to look at the uses of these punctuation marks. Firstly, let's look at full stop. Full stop or period is the punctuation mark that is used at the end of a statement. We could use it at the end of a statement. She loves to dance, full stop. It's a statement. Or we also use full stop to indicate abbreviations, initials or numbers. Everybody knows PTO means please turn over. So we use full stop. We could also use full stop also for initials, WAEC, W, full stop, A, full stop, E, full stop, C, full stop. But in those generally accepted terms, and where the initials are used, the initials of the full term are used, sometimes we could use them without any full stop. It's also correct to just write WAEC without having full stop in between, because the words that make them up, the initials, they are the main words of that sentence, of the term. Let's also look at question mark. What are the uses? We use question marks to end sentences that are asking for a reply. That means for direct questions, like what is your name? How are you? Where are you going? Whose clothes are these? Then let's also look at exclamation mark. Exclamation mark is the mark we use to indicate special emphasis, to show surprise or strong emotion. Forbid it, Almighty God. Help! We use exclamation mark to show surprise or strong emotion. Ouch! That hurts. Then apostrophe. Let's look closely at this punctuation mark. Firstly, we use apostrophe to form the possessive form of nouns. So when a noun is showing possession, we use an apostrophe. Example, this is Ken's pen. So we find the apostrophe there with the addition of S. This is Ken's pen. Now also for plural nouns that are ending in S, we only use the apostrophe, like 10 ladies' wigs. So we don't have any need to add another S at the end of ladies. For plural nouns that do not end in S, there is need to add the S after the apostrophe, after the mark. Like children's, in the children's room. So after writing N, we have an apostrophe and then S. We also use apostrophe to show contraction when something is not written in full. So when we have haven't instead of have not, when we have isn't instead of is not, when we have am, I apostrophe am instead of I am, we write, instead of I will, we write I apostrophe and then double L. So we use apostrophe in contraction to show contracted words. Now we have to note that we do not add apostrophe to possessive pronouns like hers, ours, theirs, yours. There's no need to add an apostrophe there. Let's look at comma. A comma is used to separate items in list of words, phrases, and clauses. For example, I invited Bimpe, comma, Ahmed, comma, Ken and Cynthia, full stop. We also use a comma between nouns and pronouns in apposition. For example, Mr. Bill Clinton. He's also the same person as President of America. So this is adding an information. It is the same person. Mr. Bill Clinton, the President of America, has handed over power. We also use comma to show the beginning of a direct speech. Example, the pastor said, comma, God gave me a mandate. The pastor said, comma, God gave me a mandate, which is in quotation marks because it is a direct speech. We also use comma at the end of salutation and complimentary close of a letter. For example, yours sincerely, we add comma, yours faithfully, comma, your friend, comma, your daughter, comma. We also use comma to mark up words like yes, no, to, first, well, when they introduce a sentence. For example, yes, I will go with you. No, comma, you don't need to come with me. Colon and semicolon. Let's look at colon first. A colon is used to announce a list, an explanation, or a long quotation. For example, someone said, colon, to love is to suffer. We also use colon to show strong contrast. Man proposes, God disposes. For semicolon, we use semicolon to separate main clauses which are closely connected in meaning. That's simply clauses that are independent. They can stand on their own, but since they are connected, we use semicolon to separate them. For example, some like to travel, others prefer to stay home. We also use semicolon instead of a comma to separate parts of a sentence that are already separated by commas. For example, there are two things you must have, semicolon, first, comma, courage, semicolon, second, comma, determination. We have the quotation marks and the parentheses, which is also brackets. Quotation marks, we have the single and the double, but here we are using the double. Now, quotation marks, which we call the inverted commas, they are used for direct speech to show that something that has been said was said directly, the exact way a person said something. So the girl said, "My father is a lawyer." Now, because we are not reporting, this is not a reported speech, we are saying it exactly the way she said it. There is need to enclose it in quotation marks. We also use quotation marks to enclose titles of articles, poems, short stories, newspapers, chapters of books, songs, and periodicals. Example, my father loves the song Sweet Mother. So Sweet Mother is in quotation marks. Mainly for brackets, what we use it to do is that we use it to insert additional information that comes as an afterthought or explanation. For example, Amina screamed right into my ear. What we have in brackets, she was standing next to me. So this is an additional information. And clapped her hands over my eyes. We have hyphen and dash. Sometimes it's very easy to confuse these punctuation marks, but we'll see the difference between them. What we use hyphen to do majorly is that we use them to form compound words. For some of these compound words, they have an adjective, they have a preposition in them, like father-in-law. So we have hyphen after father, we have hyphen after in. Sit in, good for nothing, great aunt, brown-eyed, take off. We also use hyphen between a prefix and a capitalized noun. So we see non-Catholics, un-Nigerian, un-African, and so on. We also use hyphen to separate a prefix that is ending in a vowel from a word that is beginning with that same vowel. We have examples in words like coordinate, re-enter, preeminent. So we use hyphen to separate the prefix. We also use hyphen in compound numbers and fractions, 51, 1/3, and so on. Now let's look at dash. We use dash to emphasize a repeated word in a sentence. For example, the school disciplinary committee wrote new rules. A dash, rules that were very harsh. We also use dash to indicate an abrupt change in thought in the sentence. A change that probably it was not planned, is abrupt. A sudden change. Example, the next time John visited, his father was not in the hospital. There's a dash. That was not what he had expected. We also use dash to put together a list of items or to set up a brief summary. For example, we will need 4 things. A dash, and then we have a knife, plate, pot, and spoon. So now, having learned these punctuation marks, we are going to answer these questions. Question 1. The carpenter asked for 10 packets of dash nails. A. 15 hyphen centimeter. B. 15 centimeters. C. 15 hyphen centimeters. D. 15 hyphen centimeters and an apostrophe.
The correct option is option A, 15 hyphen centimeter. Nails is already in plural form, so we do not need our centimeter to be in plural. The second question, the pen which you have just picked up is dash. A, Charles. We have a Charles with an apostrophe before S. Of course, that Charles is not spelled correctly. B, we have Charles and an apostrophe. C, we have Charles. Before an apostrophe, the Charles here, we have two S, which is a wrong spelling. D, we have Charles, we have an apostrophe, and then we have S. The correct option is option B. The pen which you have just picked up is Charles. There's no need for another S at the end of the apostrophe. It's the word ended in S, the name ended in S, so we don't have any need for any extra S. That means that the correct option is option B. They spent the last holiday with their dash. A, sister in hyphen laws. Sister-in-laws. B, sisters in hyphen in another hyphen law. C, sisters in-laws. D, sisters hyphen in-laws. The correct option is option B, sisters in-law. Sisters hyphen in hyphen and law. They already suggest that we are not referring to just one person. That's why we have sisters in plural. The dash affairs officer is expecting all of us in the dining room. A, students. B, students apostrophe S. C, students. D, students with an ellipsis. The correct option is option A, the student affairs officer. It's just like saying the officer of student affairs. That's why we cannot take option B or option C. Another question, I have received the answer scripts of Peter and John. What about dash? Option A, Ngozi. Option B, Ngozi's own. Option C, Ngozi's. Option D, Ngozi's. But now we have an apostrophe before S. The correct option is option D. By having that apostrophe and S, we are already showing possession, so there's no need to pick B and say Ngozi's own. That would only be repetition. Apostrophe and S already shows possession. Also, Uncle Ochai now has enough money to complete his dash building. A, 2 hyphen story. B, 2 hyphen storied. C, 2-story. D, 2-storied. Now spelling helps us here too. The correct option is option A, 2-story. Finally, Ikorodu is not far from here. It is only an dash. A, hour of driving. B, hours drive. C, hour by driving. D, hour in driving. The correct option is option B. Ikorodu is not far from here. It is only an hour's drive. To practice more questions on punctuation, download our Efiwe app and you will be good to go. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you for watching.